is just instead of looking at your big picture, try just looking at the step that you're standing on, right? That's all you need is just faith to get from that step to the next and just one foot in front of the other.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Welcome back to Money with Mission, everyone. Today we have Tracilea Young. Tracy is out of Cary, North Carolina at this point in her life. She's been a lot of places just like I have. And I think you're going to find her story very interesting. Tracy is not a physician. She has worked in the medical field at herself, and she works with a lot of physicians. What she has to talk about and what has been going on and how she views medicine, I think is very interesting. And her whole mindset and the way she thinks about creating things, I think is the bigger point here. So welcome to the show, Tracilea.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I've been listening to everything that you've done and I'm honored to be here. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So Tracilea, I'm going to do it. I know. Tracilea. And you guys, her name is one name, not two names. Tracilea. Tracilea, you've got a lot. You've done a lot. You guys, if you saw her bio, it is long and dense. How did you get to where you are now? You've got the CBD, you've got the medical clinics you're working with, you've got your NLM that you're working with, but you didn't start there. How did you get started in your career?
So my career began actually really early in my life. I moved out of my parents' house and became a mom at the age of 15. So I sort of threw myself into this beautiful adventure called life and was lucky enough to get a job at a very successful company working with a man that founded that company. I don't know if I'm allowed to say brands or names, but I learned so much from him, and he has created several multi-billion-dollar brands. And what I learned from him is you really have to create relationships with people in order to be successful. And you can't do that if you aren't really compassionate about what they want, what they need, and allow them to see that you care and that you've experienced similar things to them. And so that was really the foundation. And as I sort of grew up there, I was there for 12 years and it was wonderful. And from there, I wanted to be a mom. And so I went home and started having babies and started homeschooling. But, my passion for caring for people grew rapidly and I wanted to become a midwife. And so while I was homeschooling, I started a business and became a certified doula as well as licensed childbirth educator. And that was really my first business. And what that did was sort of fund me through the beginning part of medical school. And then I was sort of recruited or invited into multi-level marketing. And that's where I had my first, sort of a foray into that business. And it just exploded for me. And probably because I was so passionate about what I was doing and my desire to become a midwife. And so, that's sort of.
Let me ask you something. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people are back at, she was 15 and had a baby and then got a job and then da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay.
Right. Living on her own. Yes. Yeah. It's crazy.
So, okay, I'm going to just ask it, was having a baby at 15 a plan or a thing? This is a thing that happened to me. It didn't happen to you. You were a part of the happening, but this happened. Yeah. It wasn't a plan.
It wasn't. You hear that and you think, oh my gosh, she must have been so promiscuous. No.
15-year-olds fall in love. That's what I think about. That's honestly what I think about. 15-year-old girls are in love.
Yeah.
And so you got pregnant, you had this child, you left your parents' home and didn't go to government assistance. You got a job. Did you need the help of government assistance at some point?
Hindsight, of course, in the moment, I would have said yes, but hindsight, it really taught me to be smart. budget and to be, make wise choices. So I'm really grateful that I had that learning.
Okay. So you got a job, and we're really lucky where you got this job where you worked with somebody who sounds like they took you under their wing and really showed you a lot. You learned about relationships and how relationships help build things and how that's actually the connection to everything.
Yep.
Then you said you went back home and you decided you wanted to be a mom more. You were already a mom, more a mom.
Yes,
Yeah.
but in between those two decisions, I did get married.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thanks. Because we did leave that part out. Okay. Because I think it is important. How many times have you been a mom?
So I have 8 children. Technically, I have 9. I was pregnant with twins once, but only one survived. So I have 8 living children.
Okay. So not just a few times, a bunch of times Tracy's been a mom. She's still a mom. 8 children. Homeschooled them. And while you were homeschooling, decided you wanted to go to medical school. You decided you wanted to go. Okay, you decided you wanted to go to medical school, so started that process.
Yep.
You're married, so you've got 2 people working there. So talk about how you talked a little bit about how that started to unfold. I'm gonna kind of stick this in the story. You're probably gonna get there, but I know your husband got sick. And
Yes.
where in the story did that happen?
He was diagnosed Thanksgiving Day of 2018. I'm going to back up for just one second because
Please.
there's one really super important detail in my life that I think has really helped me to be not only who I am today, but where I am. Certainly, I've been blessed beyond imagination, but I was able to put myself through medical school and pretty much accomplish my goal. And I had a woman that I had delivered the first baby. She ended up having to have a C-section, and she was on her second pregnancy, and she was 38 weeks pregnant and really struggling with just sort of cramping that I couldn't diagnose from home. And of course, we always want safety first. So we went to Stanford. And they did ultrasound and said that her original C-section just left a lot of scar tissue. And they encouraged her to do another C-section that day. Baby looks fine. Everything's fine. 38 weeks. Let's just deliver. And a pivotal moment in my life and career happened that day when that baby was born and never took a breath. It still to this day chokes me up. I still can remember everything I saw, smelled, touched. And I chose to not go in that direction. I want to help and support and love on people, but I wasn't prepared for that day. Mm-hmm. And so fast forward, being a stay-at-home mom and doing all the things and homeschooling for 17 years. And then January 9th of 2014, the father of my children got diagnosed with stage 4 throat cancer, given 2 months to live. And
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A little bit ago, you said 2018, then you just said 2014. So let's make sure everybody understands the dates.
He passed away in 18.
Gotcha. I know. Before we go there, there's something about what you just said. And I really appreciate you sharing that about your experience. How long had you been? You said medical school. Was it medical MD school, medical school to be a midwife? What's
medical school to be a midwife? Yep.
Gotcha.
National Midwifery Institute. Yep.
And how long had you been a midwife?
Oddly enough, that day at Stanford was 2 weeks prior to taking the test to get my license.
Okay, so you
I had delivered many days. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you had that experience. So here you are 2 weeks away from getting your license to do this thing that you thought was your thing. And this experience showed you, no, this is not my thing.
Yep.
And it took a lot of courage to decide this isn't what I'm supposed to do. This one event has shown that to me. Now, I don't know if I would have done that. I don't know if I would have had the courage to do that. I thought, okay, I just got to push through this because this is just one of those things. So that says a lot about you. You look at your life, you look at what's going on and decide, yeah, this is a thing for me, and did a pivot. Got it.
Yep.
That's beautiful. Then in 2014, your husband was diagnosed with throat cancer. And you guys lived through that.
Yeah. Yeah. But thankfully, they gave us 2 months and said, maybe that's our best guess. And I dove into research. And I'll tell you, cannabis kept coming up, and that wasn't any part of our life. We did children. We didn't do the parties or any of the other stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I couldn't wrap my head around it. I just couldn't. I remember the day that I read the words medical marijuana, and I thought, you have got to be kidding me. Those hippies, they'll do anything to get high legally.
And you were living in California at the time. So California was at the forefront of medical marijuana, that kind of thing. Okay, go ahead.
That's right. So we went that route because I just couldn't find anything else. He did do one treatment of chemo, and he said, I just won't ever do that. That's going to kill me before the cancer does. And that was, of course, just the way he felt. And so we went that route. And I'll tell you, it was very telling, that industry, the lack of compassion, the non-HIPAA compliance, the just a total disregard and disrespect to patients who need cannabis for medical reasons. If somebody wants to do it electively just to feel that high or whatever, that's fine. That's on them. But I watched so many, a lot of elderly, a couple of children during that journey, and it really told me that something had to change.
Yeah.
And during this time, I was running plastic surgery centers.
Okay.
And they were very successful and they were very high end. And I thought, why can't we merge the two? Why can't we have a space that people that have a true medical need can come in and feel like they're being heard and loved on and respected, and we are compassionate about it? And so
in a true medical setting,
exactly,
because I think it's the bastardization of medical marijuana that was actually being used for recreational marijuana. But people really did need it medically, and nobody really looked to see who was who. It was I think that was very much the problem in that era of the situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And I believe it's tragic. I think doctors go into medicine because they do. They want to care, and they have that desire to be that person to help. And I don't know what happens. And it certainly isn't all, because there are so many wonderful doctors out there.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, April of 15, I opened up my first clinic in California, and I hired doctors that were only in good standing with the DEA and had a full medical staff. We wore scrubs and did a full health evaluation. And it was really wonderful. We were seeing 85 patients a day. And to me, that was really telling that people wanted that.
Mm-hmm.
So when Florida went medical, was voted in 16, I flew to Florida and I began opening clinics there.
Okay. So you
yeah.
opened, what did you call your clinics? I'm sorry.
They're compassionate care clinics is what I refer to them as. And it was nothing short of that.
Okay. And you had physicians, real medical school, residency, degreed, NUI numbers or NUID numbers, all those kinds of things that like, these are doctors, people.
Yep.
Who did they do extra training or other training to understand CBD? Because we're not taught that in medical school at all. We're taught what comes from the pharmaceutical industry, not plant medicine, to drugs to give to people. So whether these guys or folks go through other training to understand more, or how did that work for you?
So I was really blessed with my California location. I had a gentleman who, he was, triple PhD, had so much knowledge in cannabis as well as medicine. And he heads one of the large hospitals now in California. But he and I put together a program. It really wasn't CME course, although that's what I was really trying to do in Florida anyway. And so we put together a training course for our California physicians. And then when I went to Florida claimed to have a training program, but it was a 2-hour program that really only taught the doctors how to stay in compliance with the law. So I had to buckle up buttercup and put together additions to everything that was in there from the California book and do our own training. And it certainly took a little while, of course, from a business perspective, and you've got investors and you've got all these things, and you need to see a certain number of patients every day. And we certainly had a waiting room full of them, but doctors were so sort of being fed by what they were learning that we'd have exams go on for 3.5 hours. And I'd have to sit these doctors aside and say, you've got to figure out how to be really compassionate and understanding, but yet we've got to be able to keep this business going or the patients will suffer.
Got you. So you said some very interesting things about, because as you know, I'm about real estate investing and social impact investing. So these are medical clinics and you had investors to help buy the buildings and run the business for a period of time, or how did that work?
So we didn't buy the real estate. We leased locations, but in order to create that feel that I really wanted to have, it required a good amount of investing, and I had a significant amount of capital invested myself
Yes.
as we wanted to expand, and we expanded rather quickly to 8 locations. It just required addition.
Okay. So you had outside private investors investing into the business, not the real estate, but the business itself.
That's right.
And then, and where did you find that? Where did the doctors come from? Which doctors were these that seemed to be most interested in doing this?
I ran ads and, talked about doctors are always looking for continuing education, right? That's why they
Yeah.
do these. And so when it became legal, I think it just sort of threw a bunch of doctors into the curiosity zone, right? And so that's really all I had to talk about was compassionate care and cannabis and legalization, those things. And I had an amazing amount of applicants. And my thing was, like I said earlier, they had to be in good standing with the DEA because regardless what happened, I don't judge, but I feel like my patients deserve that. And then I could only do an MD or a DO, although I had lots of nurse practitioners or PAs, lots of people, but
Just
it
MDs and
was
DOs.
those two. Yep.
All right. And then did those physicians that came in to work in your clinics, did they keep their other practices, or this became their practice? Or
That is a really interesting question. I'll tell you because there was a wide variety of things, but the challenge is that the laws in Florida changed so often that a doctor that had his own practice could become a competitor, and so then you had your non-competes and all things. It just got really, really sort of too confusing than it needed to be.
Okay.
So we ended up having physicians just full time, and
Okay.
so we were busy enough that we had 3 full time. We had 12 exam rooms in one location. So
Okay. All right. That's very interesting. It's an interesting business model. Thank you for sharing that with me. And are you still doing that now?
no, thankfully, I had a doctor that was very interested in that, and I was sort of at one of those pivotal moments in life, and so that is now his. I don't own it anymore, but I do consulting for him and help him with marketing and things like that. So it's been a beautiful journey for me.
Okay. So those were all in Florida. Did you own any in California too, or you left
I,
those when you left California?
I did, but then California went recreational in 19. And so it didn't make sense for people to come and pay the money for a card when they could just go buy their product.
But did they? So what I was under the impression, and correct me, that people would come to your clinics not only to get their card, because they could get those from Joe on the street, it seemed like to me, but to also be prescribed a regimen that was really going to work for them, and they weren't out there just fooling around trying to figure out and do that
Right.
kind of thing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's sort of walking in the dark. 100% that is true. The really sad part is that doctors are very expensive, and the majority of the people that were coming for that service were on such a limited budget that they just couldn't afford, and then the business couldn't be sustained.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll tell you, we went from the last day of 2018, we saw 87 patients. The recreational law went into effect on January 7th. And on that day, we saw 4 patients.
One thing about medicine, this is my soapbox, is that it's expensive. It's expensive because of insurance, just like,
Yeah.
anyway. I'm an advocate for people understanding that their insurance company doesn't necessarily really care about them. I'm just going to put that out there. They want you to pay your premium, pay your premium, pay your premium, and then hopefully you never need to use them and you die. It goes away. Then they just made money. That sounds harsh, I know, and I'm probably exaggerating. Everybody's not like that, but for this thing. And there's so many other ways for people to be treated. I often see people in my office who had something, there's something going on, but I knew that Western medicine was never going to be able to fix it for them. Never. And I was like, why don't you, can you go to a nutritionist? Can you go? I think it's a nutrition issue. I think it's all the other things that are out there that I didn't know anything about enough. I didn't know enough about to be able to do. And with our restrictions in medicine, with the legalities and you got to follow this protocol and da 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 da, you're not really allowed to do that so much. But so many people can't because it's expensive and they need their insurance to cover their care, which isn't always what they need. So that's a frustration for me in medicine. And I think more and more physicians are getting frustrated that way.
Yeah, I understand.
Anyway.
This is so exciting, I think. Just like, well, I have so many things that are good in my life right now. So I am full-time network marketer. I do a multi-level marketing company. And the reason that I am so involved in that is because all of the products are the highest quality available. You know, USDA certified organic, we're seed to seal. They're hemp-based wellness products. And
I don't think we said what your product is.
So I am an independent advocate for a company called Green Compass Global. And we have CBD products, CBDA products, and a wide variety of collagen. And we have so many products that benefit health that it allows me to sort of be in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And my next project that I'm working on is underway is I'll be opening up additional clinics that are wellness clinics. And certainly I will be offering these products, but I'm also going to be doing like IV therapy. And there are so many new devices that help with circulation to oxygenate the blood and help people to be able to recover. And things that I've read about and seen in the last couple of months has just been crazy town. Like literally I've seen even with drowning patients that are literally a vegetable. And these devices are able to give hope.
So I'm going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. That's very interesting. First of all, number one, it's very interesting.
I know.
Spend a little bit more time talking about that. Okay. So network marketing, is that what that's not what you called it. Network marketing, you called it, what'd you call it?
There's so many, you can call it social retail, you can call it relationship marketing, multi-level marketing, network marketing. Everybody's got their own acronym.
Yes. And that goes all the way back to your beginning where you learned that relationships are the way to get to understand people. It's building those relationships. It's not just about a transaction. And I can tell you, Tracilea, it's about understanding you and what you need and how she can help you, how the two of you can work together to be better, not here, buy this product and keep buying it. You wouldn't get that you don't get that from her at all. If you're not looking at this, if you were looking at her, I'm sure you would feel the same way. And if you spend a little bit of time with her, you're going to 100% understand that. So it's very interesting. Your kids, are they still at home? Where are they?
They're all over the country. And it's fun because many of them have worked for me managing clinics or different businesses, and they're all really good people contributing to society. And I couldn't be prouder, but they're in Tampa, Tennessee, Colorado, California, Arizona, and North Carolina.
And do you have grandchildren?
I have 6 grandchildren.
6 grandchildren.
I'm well on my way.
I don't have any grandchildren. I have a grand dog. That's as far as we've gone.
I have 2 grand cats, so I'm sort of in that field too.
So Tracilea, I pulled this from your LinkedIn, and you said, I believe setting and achieving goals is the only way to move forward in any area. You can't measure progress without this application, and the possibility of becoming stagnant increases twofold each day. When you get into a tight place and everything goes against you, till it seems as though you could not hang on a minute longer, never give up, then for that is just the place and time that the tide will turn. How do you look at your life and see how that has played out for you?
I think everybody has a story, right? I mean, if we all walked into a room and laid our problems on the table, we'd all pick up our own and walk right back out. And my experience has been the bad was we lost the father of my children. The good is that it opened my eyes to plant medicine and the ability to help people going through either the same or similar or completely different challenges, and gave me the tools that I need to be able to sort of hold their hand and walk them through to the other side where they actually feel cared about and they get a sense of hope again. And every day can present sort of challenges like that. And it goes with any diagnosis. There's so many people that have a baby and then all of a sudden they're not themselves anymore, right? They're not their bubbly personality. They don't want to get out of bed. And there is a diagnosis for that. But how do you help them get through that? They, at that moment, can't see the other side. They can't.
Yeah.
So, really that's just what it means is it's just instead of looking at your big picture, try just looking at the step that you're standing on, right? That's all you need is just faith to get from that step to the next and just one foot in front of the other.
And sometimes a hand to hold to help you when you're scared, right?
Okay.
We
Yep.
all need a hand to hold sometimes when that fear is just so much for us.
Yeah.
When did you start setting goals? Actively setting goals?
I had to do it when I walked through the door of my first apartment at 15. And the goals were that I wasn't going to fail. I didn't ever want to have a month with no money, and I didn't ever want to not have a roof over my daughter's head.
Where did you learn that?
A lot of it came from that first job.
Okay.
Because of course you learn in business that you set your projections and you have all the sales and marketing, and all I did was take that and apply it to my life. And then I don't know what gave me the wisdom, but I knew that I needed to see what I wanted in my life. So I didn't do a vision board. Didn't have that idea on my own, but writing down everything that I wanted. And then I remember it must have been 6 months or so later, and I took that list of everything that I wanted and I wrote each thing in really great detail.
Okay.
And then I went from watching that to, and I don't know, it might have been 6 months later, getting up a little bit early in the morning so that I could read through each one of those things and the description every day.
Okay. That's written in Think and Grow Rich. It is there. Read your dream, read your goal so that it is stuck in your head and you are moving towards that thing. I think that's one of the big things is many of us don't have goals. We have wishes and we have a wish it would be, I want to do, but there's not a plan to get to it. The goal is just a wish with a plan.
That's right.
That's just very simple. And there's so much that you can do and you get so much further once you decided this is what I want to do and this is my thing. I'm going for it.
That's right.
I'm really, really impressed with Tracilea. I just want to tell you that. I'm super excited to know you more. We met not that long ago and excited to come out, just look at your clinics and see all the things you're doing, learn more about the stuff you were talking about and helping people that I didn't even know these devices existed. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for being on the show. How can people get in touch with you? People are going, how do we talk to her?
Probably my easiest thing would be my link tree. I don't know if that's a common thing for everybody, but it's spelled kind of funny. linktr.ee/Tracilea. TRACILEA.
Okay.
You can also do linktree/MyLifeSparkles. That's my website, mylifesparkles.com.
And Tracilea is on LinkedIn as Tracilea Young. And for all you people who are not sitting down with a pad and a paper and a pen, which I know none of you are, it's going to be in the show notes. So when you get home, you can take a look and get in touch with Tracilea and hear about all the things she's doing. It is really, really amazing. Again, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. This has been so much fun. Thanks.
It has been fun. Thank you.
All right.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now. where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.